goddamn travesty. I need some better. I need some music that. I don't like using this music.
The music, the preset music.
Yeah, I don't like you. Like that's the thing. Like, there's not like a. I usually I'll use this. We'll go with this. This will be the white noise. It's like
This was the white noise.
This was the white noise, but it's like.
Yeah.
It's funny for like a looped 2-second intro or whatever. Like, this can't be the best. Like, because it's just fucking harps.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just like, it's like strings. You're kind of just like, it's like you saw The Leftovers?
No, I never did.
You know what The Leftovers is about?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine like you're just living on Earth. Not that you die, but just like at one point you just start
the rapture.
You just start fucking floating up, and all you can see is the sky opening up, and it's heaven and shit. Like, this is the music that's just like, oh hey, I'm going to heaven. You know what I'm saying? I'm flying in there, like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
he's drinking the shit, and
no, but because of The Leftovers, Damon Lindelof. I mean, he had already done so much stuff too, but he was able to then do Watchmen at HBO because of The Leftovers.
Because they were able to stick the landing with The Leftovers.
I think the fact that it was so divisive from what I would.
I'm talking to you like you've seen the show. You don't know.
No. But I would hear like the first season was like so divisive, and the second and third seasons they would say like that's the best like TV.
The funny
like emotion, spirituality, and performances and all that.
Oddly enough, because this is usually the reverse. The first
I'm telling
season,
you.
No,
or
what I'm
shows start great and then end.
But
bad.
The first season was based on the book.
Yeah.
That was it. The first season was the book. I think the ending may have been. I tried reading the book once. I don't know if I made it all the way through, but seasons 2 and 3 were based off of whatever the fuck they came up with, which is amazing because that's some of the best. I feel it. StreamYard always changes shit. Did the Yamins always look like this? Hold up, am I wilding?
The comments?
Yeah, maybe
Oh no, you would. Well, no, you had. They've been like that for a while.
They look like this.
Yeah.
I'm wild.
You had them boxed before at the beginning, but then you changed them to rounded in the last 20 something. Or maybe the last. Because I was doing screenshots last night. I wasn't sure to post if I should send them like the evolution of the show.
I guess, yeah.
This is White Noise.
This is
year 1, not season 1. I think this is just year 1.
Oh wow, that sounds a lot better than
right?
Some other shit like year 1.
Yeah,
that's how DC used to do some of their comic books anyway.
Exactly, that's why I came to mind. So this is our, us figuring it out. Maybe we'll get better in year 2. Maybe we'll just beat the shit out of some people and say we're fixing the city. Like,
I think we're pretty good though. I mean, I will say. For a shouts out to Math for something that kind of just sprung up out of a conversation, I believe, between the two of you about the white noise segment on BRP being something that could have more life.
Yeah, I think we spoke. No, I think it was all on the glide about how.
Was it on the glide?
Yeah. I think it's like, it'd be funny because at that point, I think I just joined the show full time, whereas like there should be a segment towards the end where whatever Drip wants to talk about, we call it white noise. And it was that week was the Jay White versus Ibushi match at Wrestle Kingdom, and the rumors of Jay White potentially leaving New Japan to go to NXT or even AEW were up in the air. So he's like, and then next week we would do something else that you'd want to talk about. So that isn't already on the show to begin with, whatever, like, or if there's a match in PWG or again, the widest thing that you can come up with, or just something that I'm into that
the widest ranch.
At the time, the 3 of y'all weren't into, but now the 4 of us.
I think that's the big key. Yeah, that was the big key.
And that's, I mean, I think that's what this show's episodes or topics, I should say, have pointed at. But which of those episodes, Khal, would you like the time back? Is what I'm saying. Which of the episodes you're like, you know what? I could have used that almost 2 hours in my life back to do anything else. I could have watched the Gonner Ujima death match again. I could have spent time with my wife.
Let's see which one because I mean the thing is like I do I like learning stuff, so I enjoy when Drip is able to like school me on, especially some shit that like not that I had no idea about, but some shit that I just wasn't paying attention to or diving deep into. But is there a where the hell's the playlist? Here we go. White Noise. We've done. Damn, this is episode 25. Loki, I think that's because we've got the baby PSA in there.
Yeah.
Like Shane McMahon.
Do you like the Shane McMahon one?
I don't care. Like I don't care about him. You know what I mean? Like I really am not a fan of his 7 Days to Christmas piece of Rick Maker 13. Yeah, it's
that's why we're doing this. This is again the final White Noise of the year, with Christmas being next Sunday. New Year's Eve is Saturday after that, and then Sunday, New Year's Day. Basically, we'll be recording the first of 2023, doing our best of the year. We did that last year, so We'll do it again. We're in that tradition. But
yeah, I think
Shane McMahon, that's your choice.
Shane McMahon. I mean, again, it just in terms of like,
I was able to sway you in any way of again, like this guy is actually dope.
No, not at all. Not, that I don't know what Shane McMahon I could watch that I'll be like, yeah. Like I remember a while ago at my old job, they were experimenting with putting together video of past content. Some of it was like they were turning some type of Shane McMahon post into a video, and it was cool seeing like his moments. But like after I've seen him jump off the Titantron and then get like belly to belly suplex through glass and all this other shit, like I'm good. Like I could live the rest of my life and not really like I don't even want to see him wrestle when he wrestles now. Whatever that Braun Strowman match was, and that
was bad. But again, it's also Braun Strowman, so he was trying to do the best he could.
But this be what I'm saying. Like I think people think I be hating sometimes, but like a lot of the time, I know I'm not
sometimes.
Gonna like some. So I'm sometimes a bit.
For but fuck's sake, Cal.
That's funny.
That was you hating. I'm like, I explained the story to you last week.
The story don't make sense, though. The story don't make sense.
Explained it to you again, and so did he that night. And then you're like, but the story doesn't make sense. I'm like,
the story doesn't.
He wants to tell
the story, but when the story don't make sense, the story don't make sense. When it would make a lot more sense for the people who have been on responding to this shit, because even when Blackpool Combat Club was talking this past week, they was talking about House of Black, they was talking about JAS, they was talking about everything but what Bryan Danielson's got going on. So that's why I'm like, it may sound like I'm if I'm being annoying, it is what it is, but I'm genuinely like, what the hell? Like it doesn't make sense. Even when you explain the story, quote unquote, it doesn't make sense. Until I see Bryan Danielson on TV explaining what he's been doing the last, because was he at the hospital? Because William Regal was back the next week.
Yeah, he was like, again,
and Danielson was chilling.
In the Batman, when Alfred's in the hospital, Bruce Wayne's just sitting right there, like,
yeah,
should have
Batman
been a bit of father for you.
This ain't Batman. I'm gonna take a shot for White Noise for Christmas. This ain't Batman though, because he don't want to be the Cape Crusader. He just wants to be a guy. He Bryan Danielson would rather be Harvey Dent than Batman right now.
No, I think he does want to be Batman that way, because Batman necessarily doesn't want to be.
Is Bryan Danielson willing to do what it takes to take MJF out?
Yeah,
including being the AEW World Champion. Something you and everybody else told me he don't want right now.
So the ultimate thing is like, so I guess you'd have to make the equivalent of the AEW title and being a killer the same thing. Mm-hmm. Again, like Batman won't kill, like that's the only thing he won't do. He'll fuck people up, but he like that's crossing the line, is killing someone. So for Bryan Danielson, again, I'll fuck some people up. I'll win a match. I'll try my hardest, and then when it's a title match, let me
don't give me that world title though.
Let me don't give me that easy a little bit, you know.
Are you serious though?
Maybe. I mean,
I saw AEW drop that shirt of MJF and Daniels. But no, the image, because you know what, like that stuff pops me when. And I've warned her, I'm not a fan of hers that much anymore, but remember that episode of Raw where Becky Lynch got arrested and it was in Georgia, and they came out with the shirt with her mugshot. I still rock that mugshot shirt every now and again. I just thought it was it was smart.
A shirt and concept. Yeah, the MJF running and dancing, chasing them. It just is very like Urban Outfitters.
That photo is hard though. Like they could
like,
the shirt's probably trash.
Let's get a dope. Just put it on a white tee. I have a few
but I would have done first off, I'm not telling anybody how to run a business, but that shirt.
I think sometimes they should.
That shirt on a black tee, because there was I was going to get it, but there wasn't even an option for it. Or the shirt on a black hoodie. Come on, or a white hoodie. It was all t-shirt and long sleeve shirt options. It was nothing.
That's the thing sometimes with the pro wrestling tees market. I think if it's going to be a t-shirt, it has to be just t-shirt. They rarely, I think, have the same thing will be on the hoodie. They try to separate them.
I'm gonna buy this shirt to wear in my house to watch Bryan Danielson lose another world title.
Well, don't make a bet this time. But no, this plays.
He was going to lose either way. He was going to lose either way.
This plays into the MJF episode we did, and don't believe his lies, and he's been those lies have. I mean, I think that's come to fruition. I think we're gonna, anyone who has some questions in the chat.
Yeah, well, I put it on put it on Instagram, put it on Twitter. If you're in the chat live, this like the last live Q&A we did. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. And once I see them, we'll throw them up and have some conversation. But what were you saying, Trent?
No, we were going to talk about some of the old episodes that we've done. Like I said, preview what year 2 will be. So we already kind of talked about the origins and how it came to be. But we talked about MJF.
The MJ,
after you saw him win the title, literally the night after.
The night after, yeah. That's an episode I really enjoyed. I enjoyed those conversations. I no matter what anybody out there thinks I care about in AEW, MJF is somebody that I'm actively watching just because. Good, bad, like him, hate him, he is going to be around for a while in the world of pro wrestling. So you kind of have to get invested in him.
And I think that's what, and I don't want to speak for Matt, but I think that's what's upset him is I have to continue to see this guy because he'll always be the topic of conversation. And I think Matt is right for someone who isn't as good, not even as he says he is, but as other people think he is. Because every wrestler is supposed to talk themselves up. That's the whole point of whether you're a heel or a face, but especially a heel. You're supposed to think yourself as the best there is. No one's better than you. The whole, again, I'm better than you, and you know what aspect. But when other people really buy into that, and you clearly don't see it, it's like me and FTR. I can sometimes see FTR have a good match, but at the end of it, I'm just I don't like the way these guys carry themselves. Again, as wrestlers, not as human beings. I don't know them that way. They could be the coolest guys or whatever, but when they come on TV and they deliver their promos, the basic, I'm doing this for the prize money of my family, for the man in my corner. I'm showing up to give you wrestling. Damn it, I ain't gonna do that shit. I'm gonna win it my way, the right way, which is also the white way, if you're asking me.
Jesus, I will say this. Shouts to Sean Tragedy, who's always on the Twitter, in the comments, on YouTube, everything like that. He says MJF might be a crossover star once the movie comes out, which is true. MJF, I believe he
plays Lance Von Erich.
It don't matter.
So that'll be at the end of the movie when for how many minutes? 5 or 6, I'd say.
Don't matter. What I'm saying though is that's going to mean because me. Am I giving away the gem? I'm gonna give away a gem. Me as a pro wrestling writer, journalist, whatever you want to call it. If I was on the beat, if I was somebody who was trying to write something to, keep up with pro wrestling in the times, I'd be trying to figure out how to get an MJF interview during this press junket circuit for the Von Erich film for A24. It's good. It was probably going to be a smaller press junket. I think the biggest star is Zac Efron, but outside of that, it's a lot. It's
they also have the guy
from The Bear.
Yeah, everyone loves him. And
but your
other brother, Harris Dickerson, I think he's an up and coming British actor. He was in The King's Man. I think he was in Triangle of Sadness that just came out. It's an A24 movie. And people love A24. But
A24 is probably going to have to do a press junket specifically for wrestling media, just for MJF. It's gonna I
I
could be
think that's
seeing
why they
NJ.
made the film, to be honest. Like, what's the market? What's the niche fan base we haven't tapped into yet? We've done
Well,
drug-addled teens. We've done the saddest films you could never see
were
in
they the
this
ones
part
that
of the world.
they put out the Wrestler though, right? Were they the ones that put out the Wrestler?
That was, I think, Fox Searchlight or
Oh, that was Fox Searchlight. Wow.
yeah,
A24's never put out a wrestling film. That's interesting.
no.
That's interesting. They put out a shit ton of films too, but oh
That's why I
well.
think they're like, this will be maybe the start of something more. And who knows? I hope they
We'll
don't really go
see.
into dark side of the ring territory with just like, and now we'll do
They got to
another
pick.
tragedy. Like, we'll do the Owen Hart movie. Like, no,
Well,
please. Like,
but that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, these films are gonna have to have story. You know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying? So you're gonna have to
But
pick
I'm saying I
through.
hope their films aren't what Vice has been doing in the exploitative nature of wrestling. Like, I know there isn't as many
Vin's wondering.
happy ending stories.
Vin's wondering which action movie franchise would MGF eventually join, The Rock style.
I said Orange Cassidy is the one that should join it. Which who should have his own action movie franchise? I said it like he's.
But what genre? Like what film do you think Orange Cassidy?
I in that episode, the Orange Cassidy Project, I said like
Mhm.
he plays himself in a way. He's the cop who keeps to himself. He doesn't fight until he has to. He keeps his hands in his pocket. Does the Jackie Chan type of like choreography where he's just like fighting with his hands.
Who puts this movie out? Is this a Universal film? Like
no, this is an HBO Max film, but unfortunately HBO Max has been falling apart. So maybe it's a TNT original.
Wait, who's the funny person that's gonna write the TNT? Is it what's the guy
I'll
that
write
does
the fucking script.
No, but wait, what's because you got to get a name behind it though. What's
I
the
already
fucking
said Mark Henry is going to be the police chief. He's like, God damn it, Cassidy, you fucked up again. Like,
what? I'm blanking on the guy's name that does Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What's his face?
which one are you thinking of?
The Lonely Island dude.
Andy,
What's his
Andy Samberg?
Andy Samberg. You got to get Andy Samberg to pick up the
I'm
Orange
saying it's
Cassidy
in the vein
project.
of like Pop Star and MacGruber and all that.
100%.
It's a parody action film. Yeah,
Could you have to.
Because it'll be like like the opening of Cobra when they're like, we got to call in Cobretti. They'll be like,
No,
right.
right.
Like he shows up, he walks there with his hands in his pockets. So what do we got?
Ridiculous.
All right.
Ridiculous.
And they're just like shooting bullets, and he's just like doing the lucha rolls.
It sounds like Pootie Tang, but like an actual funny.
Basically, yeah.
Orange Cassidy going to join the Librarians is crazy. Ken Lewis.
After we did that Orange Cassidy episode, he finally won the All-Atlantic title, which is why we did that PSA one, because it's like Finn Balor. Right after we did the Finn Balor episode, he beat Edge. You saw that in Philadelphia.
Drip sitting at home. They watch everything I'm doing.
Well, that is true. We know that. We know that. We've been known that.
They taking notes.
But no, and then the episode that we did about the 49ers with Black John Studd, they lost the game that week. They got Christian McCaffrey in a trade and have since won 7 games in a row after that loss later in that week. So that's when I said like there was a white noise miracle happening until I think we did the episode about Bullet Club, and then Chris Bay lost in the Super Junior Tag League for the first time. The Bullet Club team lost for the first time right after that episode, after we talked about.
They were smoking though.
Yeah, after the Bullet Club origins, which you said someone thought that was very informative in the comments. Like, so like sometimes maybe I am teaching people, even though I'm not necessarily a good teacher. I think I'm just spitting out all these facts.
I think
I've absorbed and yeah.
The thing is about. I'm going to get to Ken Lewis's question in a second. I think the thing is about what we do is because there's so many places that people go to get conversation about pro wrestling, movies, whatever. At the very least, you need to be as informative as you can be when you're able to be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and invested. Again, if I'm not invested, I'm not going to talk about it. Like, that's the point of like these topics having meaning. I'm not just going to talk about
fact, but that's why
unless I really want to tear Bray Wyatt apart, which I don't think is the right thing to do at this moment. But I'm almost getting there.
Chill. What I'm saying is that's one of the reasons why we rock with you in the first place. It's not just that you're watching and you're paying attention. Like you being down with us. And then, like the next day or 2 days later, sending over a iPhone notes literal notes you took on the episode, like stuff like that. Like it's additive to what we're doing. And I think being able to, again, shouts out to the patreon.com/Black Wrestling, because without the patrons and like y'all in the chat and people that are maybe being with their families or whatever, we'll just talk about that in a little bit. We're not able to do a lot of these things, and I think being able to take those small conversations and expand them so we could then put it up and someone be like, damn, I learned a lot about the Bullet Club. Because you put me onto the Bullet Club a while ago when we had that conversation, I believe was on the pod, because there's times where I don't know what the hell's going on. I think with pro wrestling moving so fast, if we can take time out to be like, yo, this is why all these white boys matter. So all these people who are screaming at the arenas, you need that, because I'm not going to go back and watch 5 years of matches all the time. It may take a while, but I'll damn sure sit for 20, 25 minutes and listen to Drip break down the history of leaders in the Bullet Club.
Is generous. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's like I said, not everything gets my attention in the way it should. Like, I still didn't watch Raw from this week because I was recording. Shout out to Keeks. We were doing All Elite with Keeks, me and Banks. And I'm like, again, like Raw, there's nothing happening for another month in terms of the pay-per-view. This is just filler. And then NXT the next night, I had put on for a little bit. I'm like, I still don't like this show, even though they were trying to rebuild. It's like, so I'm not going to waste my time. Therefore, I shouldn't just shit on it unless I can shit on it if I'm watching it and wasting my time and not liking what I'm seeing. So that's why anyone who has something against AW who's actually watching it, I can understand. Or like Eve, whenever Eve tunes into AEW and says like he hates, like I understand because he's someone who already doesn't like it. And then when he gets to tune in and see what he doesn't like,
right,
that's justified. And as invested I am in AEW as kind of the sole AEW person on BRP.
Don't say that. I'm invested. I'm not an AEW person, but I'm invested.
I'm still the person who will look like, so what happened? And I think Matt is too, because he likes what they can do compared to WWE. Fam, I think everyone is open-minded more, but like, I'll be as critical as I am with giving them my praise, because I'm not just going to sugarcoat everything because I tend to like this company or show more than the other. That's what I hate about people, and they will say they don't have a bias or they aren't shills, but it's clear we're seeing it with the Sasha Banks thing, and that's something I wanted to talk about. Because I've also been like, I should probably do more like female-centered shows, not just get away from like I was planning to do a Sasha Banks episode after the Wrestle Kingdom thing to see what she's going to do there. And with the way the news broke this week, I'm like, I really got to do that. And then we talked about something too. And I'm like, I'll step on the toes of that. And
how about this? I will gladly listen to whatever you want to say about Sasha Banks right now. And then maybe either we could do, I don't want to book the show, but do we want to do maybe like or if the chat wants, we could do like a white noise dedicated to Sasha Banks before.
Yeah, because I would say,
and then one maybe after, maybe like catch up on it after Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, well, I think when Banks' first appearance, because he hasn't been on the show yet, we'll be reviewing Wrestle Kingdom with us. We'll be reviewing Wrestle Kingdom, this upcoming Wrestle Kingdom, the three of us. That will be BBD noise. It won't be the exact day, but it'll be, after we can watch it, and it's January 4th, so that'll be
okay. That's not too far then. Okay.
No, so that's a Wednesday. We'll probably be doing that Saturday or Sunday, the 7th or the 8th.
Where the hell is she? This card is stacked. Where the hell is she going to be anyway? What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I think that's just the appearance. I think Kairi Sane will probably retain that title. She'll challenge Kairi Sane for that new IWGP Women's Championship.
Damn, really? Because I need to watch the match that Kairi Sane won that.
Same. I watched the match. I think it was before it, the Shota Umino and Will Ospreay match. That match was good.
I didn't realize they were building, because I mean, when since Kairi Sane's been in the WWE, and since she's left, she's just been Kari, all caps, and she's been dominating the entire time. So I think her stepping up to Mercedes Varnado, not been wrestling since the spring of 2022, hungry and pissed off. I think that's a banger.
Yeah.
That's a banger in the midst, but if they don't touch at Wrestle Kingdom? When would they be having a match?
Probably somewhere in the next month or two, because New Japan will have Wrestle Kingdom, and they still do either a monthly or kind of bi-monthly pay-per-view. They're big shows like a New Beginning or a Wrestling Dontaku, new Sakura Genesis, like stuff like that has always kind of occurred after. So I'd probably be at one of those. But since even though I think they technically own Stardom now, and they're still keeping Stardom alive in that way, where it's just primarily women, they at least want to have the crossover where now there's an IWGP Women's World Title. So
yes,
they can balance that out in the company as well and keep its own promotion going.
Does Sasha Banks win the IWGP Women's Championship?
I think she would.
What's it called?
So let's get to that.
Yeah, what's it called?
I think just the IWGP Women's World Title. I don't know if she'll go the full route and like be a reoccurring wrestler and Stardom.
I'm looking up some stuff, but go with. I want you to go with what you're saying. Yeah, IWGP Women's Title. Go with what you're saying.
I don't know, but like so all like the reports have come out this week that she's done, and people are harping on like how she shouldn't have asked for so much money when she doesn't even show up to work, and like how ungrateful she is. And that, like, listen, Brock Lesnar commands so much more fucking money than the next guy, and he shows up 30 days in a year, if that.
Facts.
And granted, he's Brock Lesnar, right? UFC World Heavyweight Champion. But what's his work ethic? I show up, what's Matt say? He hits a German suplex, big boot, he hits an F5, leg drop, then he leaves.
Right.
Sasha Banks has to come in, face the Sarah Logans, who aren't good, face the Selena Vegas, who are all right, and potentially face the B-Fabs, who haven't stepped in the ring for a reason. And what does she do? She makes those women look capable.
Right.
And no one else can do that because no one else either cares or has the skill. What Hannah's always kind of said, like Charlotte more often not looks out for Charlotte in her matches, unless she's with like an Asuka, Sasha Banks, a Bailey. Charlotte versus Carmella, Charlotte, like, all right, it's the Charlotte show. I'm gonna do what I do. She'll do what she does, and like that's it. But the best match Carmella's had was that match with her and Sasha Banks.
Best match Ronda Rousey had was with Sasha Banks. I think
that's the argument that she isn't worthy of Ronda Rousey money, or Ronda Rousey shows up to work. She shows up to work and does a bad fucking job because she's just there for the paycheck because she got her ass beat for real and couldn't do that anymore. And Hollywood stopped calling when you get your ass beat for real.
She made Ronda Rousey look like $1 million in that.
So all these people who are either biased towards WWE and are loyal to the E, the almighty E, the shills, and they'll again Papa H, Vince's boys, all that. And again, if I'm pissing people off, it's a fact. Tell me I'm not, because you're also again not defending a woman, not just a black woman, but like a woman in general who cared about women's wrestling 15 years ago. I didn't when I started watching wrestling, and it still took me a while to care once she was at the forefront with her, Charlotte, Becky Lynch. I'm like, oh, so these women are for real now. Like they can actually go. This isn't again the bra and panty show, or like they get 4 minutes and mess up.
Mm-hmm.
It's come a long way, and she was the catalyst, and at the top of the Mount Rushmore. Even though it doesn't work like that, but that's how it goes.
You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong at all. I think
the fact that a Bianca Belair can exist, or whoever is next up, Roxanne Perez, because Sasha Banks has been doing the work with the Charlottes, with the Baileys, to make women's wrestling matter. And sure, there was the stuff in Japan that's always been there, but in America, like again, we didn't care.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm gonna refresh my browser. I'm trying to add a photo and nothing's happening. I didn't realize that Kairi Sane and Sasha Banks had only had one match in the WWE.
Yeah, as I say, I think they only wrestled once. That's why she's looking forward to do whatever she wants to do coming up.
I want to. There's not a world that Sasha Banks comes back to the WWE, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's to stay.
She would be on some.
It's like how they were kind of treating Jericho, and then he said, "I'm out for good." You know what I mean? Like when that whole thing where like he had the match with Omega,
right?
But I think he showed up on that Raw right before or right after. Remember?
Vaguely.
Yeah, and he was maybe contracted to do one more match. Then he did the all-out angle with all-in angle with Kenny Omega. And it would seem like he was writing his ticket at like whatever these guys are gonna do, I'm with them, and I can still do New Japan.
Right. Hold on one sec. This is gonna be weird. Okay. Let me see if this will work. Yeah, my one browser's wilding out on me. I'm trying to add some ill images, and this shit was going left. Yeah, what the hell? I guess it's just StreamYard. Anyway, yeah, the fact that they've not had a lot of time to touch is going to be very interesting, especially if that's a match that goes down in New Japan and not in the in WWE when they had that chance. That match was right there.
Yeah, they came close. I think they did. Though they didn't. Yeah, they must have done the Asuka Kyrie tag team against.
Let's see what they've done. No, they. Well, this is the thing. That's the only singles match they've had. They.
I know that. Yeah, but I'm saying they had to have done the Kabuki Warriors versus the Golden Rope. I'm not the Golden.
They did two. All right, they did a 6-woman.
Were they the Golden Role Models or just the role model?
There was a 6-woman tag match where Kairi Sane sided with Bailey and Sasha versus the Riot Squad. Kabuki Warriors defeated. It was a match they had there's a fatal 4-way women's tag match at a house show. At the Starrcade 2019 show, they had another fatal 4-way women's tag match. They had a match on Raw where the Golden what the hell was Golden Role Models? They beat the Kabuki Warriors, and then that may have been a situation where those are different Raws. They filmed 2 Raws on one night. The first night,
part of the pandemic wrestling on cage match. Yeah,
they had the singles match that Kairi Sane won by DQ, and then the next week's show would have been the Golden Role Models beating the Kabuki Warriors. But yeah, the fact that their only time they've had a singles match was a DQ match on a Raw that none of us really remember is ill for this New Japan at this point, because something tells me that when Mercedes gets in that ring, she's gonna be a goddamn she'll be a firecracker. She's been waiting.
Yeah. And she's got something to prove again. Like all these people who are shit on her, like again, putting down her accomplishments just because they didn't like the fact that she threw a fit when she lost the tag titles and left most of the summer of 2019 and came back. And I do agree, like that's not good business, but like they're independent contractors, they can do what they want. And sure, that's very CM Punkish to say and feel, but he felt away and he did it.
Right.
And then she felt the same thing, and she's I think in the same boat as him. Like I'm proving my worth time and time again. Pay me like it, or I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, and who doesn't feel like they should be paid for all what they do, especially if they're doing so much more, making other people look good. Matt just said that.
Right.
Like if you're paying this person who doesn't do the job that I do, what the fuck's going on? Of course I'm going to be upset.
Exactly. No, 100%. 100%. So Vin is saying that Wrestle Kingdom's 2 nights, Jan 4 and then on Jan 21 at Yokohama Arena. Is that the same date that is this New Year's Dash?
New Year's Dash is the night after Wrestle Kingdom. That's their like Raw after Mania. So that she'll probably do something there.
That's what Sean Tragedy was saying. That so if Mercedes,
I don't think she'll have a match, but she'll probably have a bigger angle or something as well.
Maybe she shows up on something the 4th and maybe cuts a promo or does something else on the 5th.
Because
maybe
after
attack somebody.
Omega at New Year's Dash, Jericho attacked Naito and set up the match that they would have later on. And that's kind of what New Year's Dash is for. That's when they kicked AJ out of the Bullet Club was New Year's Dash. When since Shinsuke Nakamura left, that was at New Year's Dash. And Suzuki Gun, which is ending, they returned at New Year's Dash. That's their, again, people will debut or big angles happen.
Vin is saying that Sasha doing Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, which I guess that maybe that's the first match. And then she's also going to AEW to be Soraya's mystery tag partner she's been teasing. I'm not saying we're doing New Year's prognosticating, but that's a very, very interesting prediction, especially when reading that whatever Mercedes got going on with New Japan, it still keeps her open for
other
opportunities.
Again, like you're saying, would she come back to WWE? I don't think she would stay in AEW, but I think she would work with AEW.
Makes sense. No, that makes
But
sense.
I imagine if she were to sign with them, it'd be that she would get what she wants in terms of the money and the schedule, which is what Roman Reigns has been doing too. And no one's talked shit about him not showing up to work because he showed up Friday. Where was he the last 2 weeks? He said himself, I haven't seen my bloodline since War Games. That was a month ago.
That was the last time you saw him on TV.
And no one's shitting on him. Again, they love Roman Reigns. They love the E. And what does Roman Reigns do? He brings people in. So does Sasha Banks.
Mercedes Varnado. Mercedes
Varnado. Yeah.
Mercedes. All I'm saying is I understand what you're saying is why she's doing this right now. I think and this is what I've thought ever since Michael Cole announced that Sasha Banks and Naomi were walked out of Raw, 5-6 months ago, whenever that was. I think the thing is,
I think 7 at this point, yeah.
She's fed up with all the stuff we talked about. The fact that they could be tag champs, but not seen in a certain light because of what the WWE is trying to do. Plus the money. The fact that she is one of the premier pro wrestlers in the world. Men, woman, black, white, WWE, AEW, New Japan, whatever. Sasha Banks has got it.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes Varnado, I'm sorry. I think the thing is, just like Prince, when Prince wrote Slave on his face, what was he fighting for? Artist rights? More control over the work they're putting out, especially in the world where the internet was confusing and music was just uploaded for free. He's passed away. Fast forward, 25 years, Taylor Swift is fighting for the same thing. And now everybody understands it because everybody now has knowledge of self when it comes to Spotify and streaming and shit like that. But Prince, this is all Prince was talking about back then. I think Mercedes is going to, I don't want to call her a martyr, but what she's doing right now is divisive. It is controversial, but I think in like 5-6 years, people are going to look back and be like, yo, she was the one who was really standing up for making sure people got what they owed, because she hasn't gotten what she owed, clearly.
Yeah. And again, it's all very selfish too, but
you got to be
change, you have to be selfish.
You got to
be. The whole CM Punk thing too, about like, by me walking out, they had to do something at WrestleMania instead to make a change. They picked Daniel Bryan. He got his moment.
Right.
And he's like, again, I can't take credit for that, but I did something because I'm fed up here. They had to change plans because now the whole show's out of whack.
Facts.
And anytime someone's either left or again, like John Cena's gone pretty much for good until the match that he came back, that he's coming back for. But like, all right, what do we got to do now that he's going to be gone? We got to make these other guys a bigger deal. These women, we got to give them a bigger spot because they're rising stars. Thanks, and I will be talking about that a little bit later.
This man,
but I'm saying like, so if, but I'm excited. I still get joy out of seeing John Cena.
I know that's your man's. I'm not trying to be crazy, but I know that's your guy.
Yeah,
that's your guy.
No, as much as so, like, he's the patron saint of BVD, like how Ryan Gosling's the patron saint of white noise. Like,
got you.
And again, we'll be talking about Barbie on DVD today. Did you see the Barbie trailer, Cal? What did you think of that?
I've not watched it yet.
We should watch it right now.
Do you think we would get in trouble?
We would get in trouble. Yeah. It's a Warner Brothers movie, of course. You want to try it and just put this on Patreon as its own exclusive? Like,
I'm not going to try. I don't want to try because I don't know what YouTube's going to do. But a couple of the homies that watched it after watching the trailer, because we've been talking about the photos and everything that people been talking about the movie, but it was hard to nail what the tone of the film was going to be.
It's exactly what I just based off the teaser. I'm like, oh, so they understand like this is a movie set in the world where we know Barbies exist.
Right.
But there still might be a real world aspect. Like, so like basically the Lego movie, like this is their world, but there's a world outside of it. Just Sean Tragedy is, shrugging, saying it's going to be good. It looks good.
My one homie who always is talking about high art, This is funny. Rick Mc13 said
Well, I mean, they did.
Oppenheimer and Barbie double
No,
feature is going to be crazy.
What was it? Kanye West versus 50 Cent on the same day, right? Their albums went head to head.
100%. But no,
first Dynamite versus NXT.
My one homie who's in the high art and film, he was like, "No, I'm trying to watch this shit. I'm trying."
I already was, as we discussed with the Gray Man and my my fandom again, like for Ryan Gosling as well. But the fact that they parody 2001 in like the first 45 minutes of the trailer, it's like, what the fuck?
In Oppenheimer? In the Barbie trailer?
No, in the Barbie trailer, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I gotta watch
giant, instead of that giant like black like
the big
thing,
structure,
whatever it is, it's Margot Robbie. I'm like, yes, I would worship that too. Like,
you think this movie is going to have more guys going to it than they originally?
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if the box office. Because that Babylon movie is probably not going to do too well.
Is that's the Adam Driver film?
No, that's the Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie movie. Did you talk about 65 of Adam Driver?
I watched that trailer. They revealed the whole plot of that film. I still don't know what's going on. I'm like,
it's Spaceman fights the dinosaurs, Cal.
That shit that comes out the week after Creed 3.
Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. We're gonna go see Creed 3, then talk about it here, then head to Mania. That's the plan.
We got a couple of questions. Again, if you guys have any questions in the chat,
the whole point, it's like 65. And it's like million years before Earth existed. I'm like, wait, so is he a time traveler?
He had guns though, right?
Yeah, no, it's like he's a space ranger, and of course, because it's written by the guys who did A Quiet Place, and they're directing that. He's the John Krasinski father figure of this.
John Krasinski wrote this, or the other people?
No, the guys who wrote The Quiet Place, because John Krasinski co-wrote it with them after like he bought their story with
Gotcha.
So you can tell it's gonna be a lot of like John Krasinski going like, and then like pointing at his space as he shows in the trailer. Like he shoots a T-Rex with a space gun. Like,
wow, hold up. Ken Lewis said, since we're on the subject of movies, what's your favorite movies of this year?
You just did Buffy.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Banks versus Davis.
You can't, but you can't see it right now because it's private, because it's going to be loading up on the Where's Buffy podcast on Tuesday. But me and Fam had a great conversation about the year-end 2022 of movies and TV. My favorite movies, the movies when I look back at 22, I'm like, yeah, I love these films. It's got to be Wakanda Forever.
I still didn't go back to see it a second time. The way the weather was going, and we were recording on the weekends. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a screen. Yeah, I saw that twice, and I loved it. I loved it more the second time too, just like with Nope. The second time
I've been meaning to rerun Nope since it's on Peacock now. I'll probably be doing that.
Is there another
next weekend?
Let me go to my. I'm loading up my letterbox for a second just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Because I know, like I said, you and Fam, shout out to the Buffy just talked about Best of the Year. Bankstein will be doing that in a couple weeks.
Word. I also
briefly talked about Nope when we did the Gray Man, because I saw it that weekend.
We talked about it a little bit. Yeah, it was a little baby conversation.
I imagine it won't hold up as well, just in terms of even though I do have a big TV, but compared to the screen. But like I said, that final 20 minutes, basically, OJ. What's the horse's name again?
Jean Jacket.
Jean Jacket versus whatever it is
I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. Jean Jacket's the thing. The thing. I don't remember the name of the horse, but
I have it written down. Give me a second. I had it. It's in my Best of the Year doc.
I will say because you've seen because you've seen Nope once. A lot of that stuff, like you're not going to be, I don't want to say confused, but like you're going to know what's coming, so you're going to be looking for different shit. And I think in the noticing the details of what's going on in that film, it makes it for a better watch. You know what I'm saying? Because it works on a couple of levels.
And I think I also just care about how it looks, because again, he wanted to make a spectacle, and he did.
He did.
No, he wanted to make a big, grand, epic movie, and he did.
I also really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. Those are probably my top 3.
I still haven't seen that.
That's a good. If you're a fan of, I was gonna say comic book films, but like specifically like the idea of a multiverse. They do a really good job.
Hey, I'm the only
that.
person who loves Multiverse of Madness like that, as we talked about a few weeks ago. Like, I'm like, that's a great movie.
I liked moments of Multiverse of Madness more than like I've not gone back and watched it since taking my son to see it. But I really liked it when they're fighting with the music notes. I like moments from films more than I like the whole films, but
that is still like hilarious to me, but also badass at the same time. Like Sam Raimi was like, we're gonna do fucking Fantasia. Like,
yeah. Well, he's like, hey, here's my list of shit I want to do. Fantasia, a horror film, and I want to kill some major characters. They're like, all right, here, as long as it makes sense for our universe, you good to go. You didn't want to share any of your favorite films of the year?
Yeah, because Banks and I always do a best of the year show, and I don't want to repeat myself a little bit, but I didn't a movie I thought I watched Ambulance. And that's a movie that I thought it was gonna be better.
Yeah.
But I still knew it wasn't good. But I still knew it wasn't gonna be good. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I was mad that it's like the opposite of The Gray Man, where like I had the highest hopes.
Wait, you tempered your expectations and then it was worse than what you tempered your expectations for? That's amazing.
Because it's Michael Bay, and if you've seen like Six Underground, which
is
bad.
Yeah.
Or the fourth Transformers film, the first one with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I watched the first 30 minutes of the fifth one, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
My son's talking about getting into Transformers. I'm like, oh boy.
The first one's great. The second one, but the second one has the amazing backstory of the writer's strike, I believe, and Shia LaBeouf's car accident, and just in terms of like
there's a lot going on,
and they streamlined it after the success of the first one. The third one is like secretly good, but not as good as the first, because it's again so end of the world stake. Even though there's the whole like they faked the moon landing. They said Optimus Prime, I think, was responsible for the moon landing. It was all like weird too. I saw that movie in the theater when I was visiting my grandma in LA. I think a day or two after we saw Captain America: The First Avenger.
Linkin Park sold those Transformer movies. Is funny,
but
we should do more White Noise Live. That's funny.
That Transformers Beast Wars, the one by Stephen Cable Jr., who did Creed 2, that looks great.
Yeah, that looks really good. With what's my man's name?
Anthony Ramos.
Anthony Ramos is going to be the big
and
guy.
Dominique
the
Fishback.
Lead, yeah. Dominique, hold up. Dominique Fishback. I really hope A, that she becomes a star. I think she's about to come, but B, that y'all are ready, because Dominique Fishback is very talented as an actor. She's very fucking funny, and she can also like. She has like rapping / like musical act. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Dominique Fishback's like she's like a quintuple threat, but I don't think people are ready. That ain't a movie question. Yeah, Sean Tragedy said. I think you're.
No, I think I just had. I was waiting for it to come on like Netflix or HBO Max, but probably yeah. I've gone away from looking for stuff on just because I'm not trying to mess up the money in terms of like viruses on my
Drip
Mac and all that.
If you need anything, we'll have a conversation.
Remember, what did I need? I said I wouldn't need the Halloween films, and I had to rent them from Apple TV instead. After you said I got you, I'm like, no, they'll be on. I think one's on HBO Max. I think the rest are also on HBO Max. They're like, I'll be able to find them.
You have a smart TV?
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation. All right. What's
a movie I didn't like was Halloween.
Halloween Ends. Yeah,
I can't talk about that on Black Wrestling Podcast Club.
I can't actually. Well, how about I want to do two. This is going to be a little bit in depth.
So on the off weeks, because we started doing White Noise bi-weekly at first, because I was doing Banks versus Davis.
We were trying to adhere
Black
to
Wrestling proper.
Schedule. There was a lot going. And
I started doing All Elite with Keeks. I've come back last week. I'll be on tomorrow's show.
Damn.
Who knows in the future?
They married now.
So I was thinking Podman, and there was the middle of BRP 52, and I'm like making all these videos. All these guest spots.
I don't want to. I don't want to be too personal, but Drip like shut down. Like there was a point where Drip was like, I can't do anything.
I had to shut down for personal reasons. I lost my smile.
No, I know, but I was also
legit shutting down. Like, I might like Leave. I might do the Shawn Michaels. I'll come back in a year. If
Drip
you
was
want me.
ready to take a hiatus for real, for
Um,
real. What
but
the
yeah.
fuck? What?
but no.
Vin is wild. Wait, Drip, did you see what your favorite movies of the year are?
Mhm.
I don't know if I can read these.
But we started doing White Noise more so weekly when I came back. And
Right.
that's when I kind of shifted because Matt had famously said to me, like, White Noise just doesn't have to be about wrestling. It can be about anything. He's like, he thinks like White Noise will be able to go off and be somewhere else or something else. No offense to Lovely and Pip. Like he thinks it can go off and be like in the stratosphere like that. Like I can talk again. That's why we did Movies Film Cinema for 3 episodes. What was your favorite film from Movies Film Cinema? I think it was Creed, just like how it was mine. And then probably Black Panther second.
Yep, something like that.
You also did like John Wick Chapter 2. Yeah.
I love the John Wick. Actually,
did you actually watch John Wick Chapter 4 yet? The trailer for that, because you hadn't seen it.
I still haven't. I still have. I've got that. This is the thing.
These are trailers. They're 2-minute things. Like,
all right, hold up.
That's the next Black Wrestling reaction, or that's what we'll do. We'll head over there and we'll watch these.
You know what's funny? Actually, shouts out to Ken Lewis and anybody else subscribed to the Patreon who watches Black Reaction Podcast Club episodes. I tell them I try not to react to stuff I haven't watched before. So a lot of the time I'll save stuff, and then if I like, and I should probably do I may have some time this week, do an episode of just watching a couple things that I've needed to watch, and a lot of it could be trailers. I still need to watch the trailer for The Whale. There's something else some other trailer that dropped. Like I keep them in my watch later trailer or my watch later list on YouTube. That's where all the trailers for movies I need to see. I
have a bunch of like sport essay things and like wrestling matches. And I took the wrestling matches out and put like wrestling matches to watch later that I still haven't gotten to. Like
I had to make a wrestling playlist, but that's the thing now, because of the Black Reaction Podcast Club, some of the stuff in my my wrestling playlist I'm able to knock off because I'm watching it, like the Junkyard Dog Butch Reed dog collar match I did the other night. I still need to watch that. Is it Gaia Girls? This one BBC documentary about it was from like 2000 about this training school in Japan for women who were trying to be pro wrestlers, and they were just beating the shit out of them. But it was like, but that's how it is, like, you go to the dojo for a year, and then if you get the test, and if you pass the test, then you're able to start on the bottom.
That's
as a
what
pro
I respect
wrestler.
About them in New Japan and their method.
They were
of, like,
fucking these girls,
the young boys, and you legit had to like clean the ring and all that, and the methods of like the push-ups, and
this was just violence. There was, I don't think there were any brooms in what I've seen. I watched one little video on it. Speaking of reacting to stuff, we got to get Drip in the China shop. The thing is, we normally, shouts out to grown men who work from home, we can record the China shop.
I wish I could be one of those men
at decent hours. We'd have to figure out like a nighttime record for Drip, but we could. That is a good idea.
Or find me a job that I can work from home. Like,
we got Brendan Fraser is going to have a good year. Watch Doom Patrol. Yeah,
no, but again, shout out to Vin, shout out to Semp, because Semp was on the pilot. Jay White Boys. Me and him try to convert you to the church of Jay White. You didn't fall for it.
I'm fine with Jay White until I see him in that damn Bullet Club Under Armour shit. It's like, what are we doing? But wait, this is a good question. Rick Maker 13 asked earlier. Now that Henry Cavill is out as Superman, do you see him as a potential Dr. Doom in the MCU? I say yes. He almost looks. I mean, he's going to need to have some type of accent, right, and then B, have some type of scarring or something on his face. But I think he may be a little too like white man attractive, but I could see it.
That's the point of Dr. Doom, though, right?
That he's a very attractive man who's
because I came up with 2 Dr. Dooms within a year now, because after watching The Matrix Revolutions, I thought Jonathan Groff would have been a great Victor Von Doom.
But now Henry Cavill's he's free.
But before Jonathan Groff, I had thought Armie Hammer would have been a perfect Dr. Doom, and that's a no-go now.
He's not free. Armie Hammer is not free.
But it's interesting. Again, I've documented this on Conversations with Banks that this is all Dwayne Johnson's fault for giving people's hopes up. Warner Brothers didn't want Henry Cavill back. Henry Cavill is signed to Danny Garcia's team. So that's how they shoehorned him into Black Adam. He was looking out for his team.
Makes sense.
In the town they have, and he got played. And Henry Cavill, unfortunately, he quit The Witcher.
He quit the with.
And now that he's looking for a new show, like they had just announced he's in a new show because it's like this guy needs something. But I think he will benefit from this because of the hype machine that's behind him now, not the $7 team, but Twitter being in an uproar of like how this guy got fucked over. When I think he was a good Superman. He was just put in bad positions. It's like when a quarterback gets drafted by a bad team, then has success later on with a different one. I think Henry Cavill. I don't know if Dr. Doom, like I said, the accent. When he's done like an American accent, it's kind of like, just be British, like that works for you, which is why like he should be Bond or I think he's American in Mission Impossible Fallout, which he's great in. So he can play a villain.
He can play a villain. Yeah,
we talked about that movie some cinema. I love that movie.
I think that's kind of the thing. I was talking to my wife, who is, I mean, I love my wife, and she's like the one I talk to her the most, and she's probably the biggest Witcher fan.
You're like, babe, I love Henry Cavill more.
No. You know what? It's like, hey, enjoy
you
that.
You were kind of set it up that way. Like I talk about, I love my wife.
No.
If you were Henry Cavill, I'm picking.
No. This is the conversation. The thing was, she's been talking about because she's a big fan of The Witcher, and the idea when I told her that Henry Cavill had signed on to be Superman and had was leaving The Witcher, she was audibly upset about that situation.
For fuck's sake.
No, I'm saying no, she was definitely how the hell are you going to have the show? But
I think Liam Hemsworth, who's like, oh, you couldn't even get like an actor to get the role.
He was who was available. He was the one guy who would want to do the role after Henry Cavill. But I think I say this because
he's the ultimate backup quarterback. Like, we ain't gonna get shit done with this guy. Like,
it's like, fuck it, what you need me to do? But even in conversations that in watching like interviews with Henry Cavill, he's definitely on some like, I think he wants to be doing more than just being The Witcher. So he wanted
to be more than being Superman, which is why he wanted the role in Mission Impossible Fallout. He's like, I want to play this role, but I don't think they'll let me because I'm supposed to be exactly hope and goodness. And Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise had talked about that. Like they initially wanted him, but they're like, all people are going to say is that like this is the movie where Superman's the bad guy, but that's why they went out of their way to make him look so badass. And even though he did that himself, is the story behind that. But and again, like if you look at it from filmography, there's not as much in it as a guy who should, and that's because they canceled Man of Steel 2.
Right.
Justice League happened. They shut that down. They get Snyder cut, and again, he's been on this TV show as like his anchor, and then they put him in those 2 Enola Holmes films because in the Netflix synergies, if you do one role in Netflix, you do 20. Like
facts. Nah, big facts. Big facts. I think. Until the new year, I think the thing with Henry Cavill is I think he needs to be a little bit more challenged in his roles, and I feel like right now he's probably good for him to get out of this shit so he can get challenged more often in roles that don't have to have him committing to 10 years or 7 years of a franchise.
I think people still want that. I think the actors themselves, that way they have something steady. Like I think John Cena's happy that he'll be able to have Peacemaker for a number of years while doing different types of movie roles.
I think that helps, but I think after a while it's cool until you're stifled. Your tag team partner Banks wants to know if you could. What are your 5 favorite Big Daddy V matches? Glad he
I can only really think of him in. I think one time he faced CM Punk, and like CM Punk tried for like a springboard clothesline, and it like didn't work at all. And then Big Daddy V like hits him with an elbow drop, and like that's it. I'm like, well, yeah, that's realistic. Like look at the size of this guy. Like,
wow, this happened. It was a Money in the Bank 2008 qualifying match.
I don't think it was that one. I think it was probably one a little bit before that. But it's that. But it's that range.
It was this 2007 match from August.
Yep, that's one I'm probably thinking of. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, this is.
But when he was Viscera, not the Love Machine, which again as a kid, like he was trying to seduce Lillian.
Right.
I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like Charlie Haas gets involved. I'm thinking like I'm just a kid. Like I don't understand. This is
out of my forte. Dad, I'm too old for this.
Well, that's when like the live sex show happened. I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
I'm too old for this. There's a video of the match. I can't upload any images to StreamYard for whatever reason. I swear to God, but to get away from the regular YouTube copyright of that match, they have 9 different screens on the YouTube, and they're all flipped horizontally, so the ECW logo is backwards.
I hate stuff like that. Whenever I have to make videos, I try to avoid ripping from those.
Drip, you gotta let me know if you would hit me up.
If only what I had to do for that super kick one to get that Johnny Gargano Adam Cole.
That I can't.
Where they super kick each other.
That I can't.
You can't screen record off a Peacock.
No,
the match I was trying to find.
That's when you need to find the date and then like to find it if you can find it.
I was doing
aired on TV. Yeah,
I still was lucky to find. Oh, it was an NXT Takeover pay-per-view, so it's like, and those aren't just like uploaded on YouTube like that. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But
facts. Damn, we're already an hour in. I guess it's a good time to drop this question from Ken Liu. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but Drip.
I was gonna say I was preparing for that one because I saw that one earlier. So we started off Jay White Boys with Semper Vivi, and that one set the tone.
Great episode.
Again, that's the pilot. It dropped when the Patreon dropped WrestleMania weekend.
What a time! We've really been cooking.
Yeah. Why do you think I had to take a break, Khal? Like,
what you see? You say that I've not taken a break.
I tell you, I tell Banks, I tell everyone to take a break. Like,
I need to take a break at some point.
And then we had Mimi on. When we did the Cody Rhodes episode, aka Drip's American Nightmare.
That's right. And that was done early.
Which we did because shout out to her and fam. But the night, so Sunday morning, afternoonish, they're listening to Cody's interview with Shoemaker. And I don't know if Brian.
This was WrestleMania weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Brian H. Waters, shout to him, shout to Wrestling Room, or Kerm, shout to Kerm. He was dope. Him and I chatted that while
Salute to Kerm.
Kerm's my guy. If I could, I would invite Kerm on a White Noise.
We'd have to figure Kerm's my guy.
Yeah,
to Kerm.
But I think he might have produced that. I'm not sure which of the two, because they are the primary wrestling producers over at the Ringer. But Fam and Mimi are listening, and I walk in, and I'm just like, no lies, no. And I have my hand on my hips, and Fam's like, if you don't get your hand off your goddamn hips, like,
that's funny.
And Mimi's like, what's wrong? I'm like, this guy, because the night before,
pissed
at the BRP frat house, it was again me, my brother Banks, Fam, Math, Gene, John, Donnie Luch, Rock, the Rattler Steve,
piece of Rattler Steve.
Dre showed up earlier, but he was gone at that point. Corazon Keeks. And
y'all go together.
No, Chris Brown and work. I think we're at Mania.
Okay.
They were there earlier in the day. But we were all watching, and when Cody Rhodes came out, I walked out the house. When Seth Rollins was just waiting in the ring, I walked out of the Airbnb for like 2 minutes, walked back in, and then when they were holding each other, and then Cody Rhodes couldn't bridge up like MJF this past week with Ricky Starks, I shouted, "This is what y'all want! He can't even bridge up!
I forgot he
can't bridge up! He couldn't bridge up. He tried it like 2 or 3 times.
They really are friends, huh?"
And I'm just like, this fucking guy. And I'm like, he's the fraud you've been calling in AEW, and he brought it right back over. And again, no, it's different. It's different over here. No, he's just crying about his daddy, crying about his wife. He's tearing pecs. So I'm glad he's been gone the rest of the year. It couldn't have happened better.
You better be getting ready for 2023, because
when we do the end of the year, and I hope there's some worst of the year type of work, because like that match with Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell is fucking garbage. Like, you talk about realistic, like no way this one-arm man could beat Seth. That made Seth Rollins look so fucking stupid. I hated it.
I got an idea for the worst, because the year-end award's going to be a little. That's
what I'm trying to say. Like, we gotta.
Yeah, but it's going to be. Well, I've been sketching it out. I mean, I have a doc that I've been working. Let me see if I can pull this doc. Was it this one? Or
But then we had Cole Corver, which was you and I and Matt talking Adam Cole, baby, who, God, he got hit with some bad luck too, my guy. And Matt constantly like, how come we don't talk about Adam Cole no more? I'm like, because he's not doing anything. I can't, like wave the flag for Adam Cole when he's at home concussed. Like, and we were talking about how his run in AEW wasn't up to par, given how he was the guy in NXT.
Right.
In his future, it looked bright. He could have been something on the main roster, maybe. Who knows? Then we did the Neighborhood Legend. TNT's Neighborhood Legend. That's when I said Ricky Starks should be TNT champ. He should held it like RVD held that ECW World Television title for 400, 500 days, just taking on all comers. He could build a story with a guy every week or for 2 months because he has that ability, as we saw when he tore MJF apart. When he said, "I'm going to take the responsibility from your plate, little boy." MJF could do. I mean, Ricky Starks could do that against everyone and anyone. On Dynamite and Rampage. And then unfortunately, this was a great episode, but I wish it was under better circumstances. We did He Was a Good Fella, which was the passing of Ray Liotta. You and I finally talked about our love for Goodfellas, his amazing performance in that film. Just again, brilliant film, beautiful.
Word.
Like
those
are the first 5 episodes of White Noise.
That's nuts.
I took a break. Then I come back and I force you to watch a movie called The Gray Man for Sierra 666, and it wasn't to be like the Devil 666. It was the Drake 666,
the Drake
like
one,
sound effect.
Yeah,
and
we've been doing it weekly ever since.
That started the Ryan Gosling Goss Watch bit. There's no Goss Watch update that. So the Barbie trailer, which we already talked about. So that's the Goss Watch. For this
that
week.
Is Goss. We did get a Gosling update. That's good.
I will say you bought into it when you showed me him and the Mickey Mouse Club singing Jodeci. That was brilliant.
If you're not on the page, that's a Patreon exclusive. If you're not on the Patreon, I was flipping through Instagram. I
said you're everything that
I was flipping through Instagram, and the caption,
baby,
it's Justin Timberlake, it's JC Chazet, and it's Ryan Gosling from the Mickey Mouse Club. And they're singing Jodeci, and the caption's like, "Yo, Ryan Gosling 8," and I'm like,
"He's like, what else can I do?" And then Ryan Gosling, "You say you're everything that I'm." Baby, I want to know.
Ryan Gosling, man of many talents. Oh my God! I really like the MJF "Don't Believe His Lies" episode that we did.
After the White Noise, that's when I coined myself Sierra Drip, the blonde man, around that time because I showed up with the blonde hair. What'd you think about that, Cal? When I had blonde hair.
When you showed up with the blonde hair,
this guy's going through it, right?
Well, that was the thing because Drip was definitely away. But we weren't like Drip was.
You had saw me earlier in the day with what could be described as a full facial hair for me.
No,
and my hair just all like.
So Drip was. God. Well, I don't even want to go through the whole timeline, but there was a point where Drip was on a date live on BRP.
Oh, I know. There is a woman I put on the Summer Jam screen. When after you and Fam had talked to Dave LaGreca, Fam Math comes in from Vice City, as people said, and I show up. Yeah, and I put a woman on the Summer Jam screen. Maybe that's why I've been realizing that. Am I the heel? Am I the bad guy? Like
I think it's one of those things where
even though I try and not to be, like, I guess I'm fucking Hamlet.
You may be your worst enemy, but I think if you're looking for like OG advice, I would say ease into either letting the world know about your better half or introducing your better half to the world. Not because the world is what it is, even though the world bees what it bees. And I don't know who that woman was, Drip, but I could only imagine what would have happened when more people started to discover who that woman was.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything bad at all.
No.
not saying anything bad at all, but it may have been bad. It would have been interesting for you to have to live through having that attachment, having someone like that on your side, knowing how they get down. Anyway, I'm not trying to sound crazy, but I know the internet is crazy, but
no, because Matt says this to me, and then I'm always like, yeah, I hear you, but I don't listen.
I hear
you,
but
I don't. But I'm not listening. It's the unfortunate part.
But you hadn't been on the pod, right? You hadn't showed up to BRP.
I didn't show up at the time because I was doing Geek Show Weekly with her at the start. I didn't do BVD at all. I didn't do BRP at all. Nope. I discovered I had a hernia. That was the thing too.
We're looping back to where we're getting. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise.
No, because this is the point. Like, and I'm like, I come back. I'm not gonna do Geek Show Weekly like I used to. I'm probably not gonna do Banks versus Davis anymore. I'm just gonna focus on.
Y'all had a whole episode where y'all shut the whole shit down.
Let me tell you this. I was serious about that.
I figured.
The only reason I came back to do it, and we're still doing it, is because Banks said, "Listen, I know how you're feeling, and I understand, but I think we have something here, something special, and like I don't want that to go to waste. It's like if you want to come back and it still doesn't feel, then we can stop it." Like he was willing to keep it alive, so all the credit for what we're doing in the success goes to him. Because again, there was nothing. People were like, "Oh, again," because Deez and Mero had broken up around that time.
Oh, that's right.
Was the irony? And I had tweets like, "Yeah, breakups going around a lot lately, right?"
What was going on? Yeah,
because again, I will be a shit stirrer, and I think my sarcasm is like my biggest strength, but also I think people are like, "Is this guy?" I'm not sure if I should. It's I think maybe I'm like too Ryan Reynolds with like the wryness and like the hey.
I think after for certain people it's too much after a while, yeah.
But yeah, no, I was serious, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's do the show again. So that's the only reason.
Drip came back with the blonde hair.
No, not the blonde hair with Banks versus Davis. What I'm saying after doing it, but the blonde hair, I said I wanted to do it for years now.
After spiraling, that was the perfect time.
But spiraling, wanting to do it in terms of like I'm like how I shave my hair now. I'm like I'm still good, so I can't say let me try this later, like before it's too late. Like I don't want to look like Stunning Steve when it like thinning hair and it's now blonde. Like
wait, Sean Tragedy said, "Can we go back to Senior Drip saying me called as on?" No.
And now we have Mr. Feige's Multiverse. That's when we had Fam on. Fam had made an appearance at the end of He Was a Good Fella. He had tried to make it. I think he was busy during the day or couldn't.
I think Fam, and I think Fam also had a recording.
Yeah, I think he and Tony Brown might have recorded
because
Black Watch.
I wanted that episode recording. I mean, obviously, Ray Liotta passed, so we had to do something. But I think the timing of that episode came up out of the normal schedule. I think. But anyway,
Mr. Feige's Multiverse, we had Sham. Shout out to Anakin Invader. The intro, Chocolate City Soul on Volume 1 and Volume 2 on Apple Music.
Yeah, Bandcamp as well.
Or wherever you get your music, I should say. And we talked about the upcoming slate of the MCU, what they had talked about at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
And I guess we were hopeful, especially for Wakanda Forever, which the trailer dropped that weekend, and I think it lived up to our expectations.
I mean, I think the film ultimately lived up to our expectations.
The rest of the phases we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Well, I saw a tweet. I'm sorry, D-Ray. I saw a tweet, and it was like, "Here's your Avengers," and it's like,
oh, the ones that are going to fight Kang. You mean
it's like Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Anthony Mackie is Captain America, Shuri is Black Panther, and Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Well, is that C level? Is that D list? Like what?
Hey, don't put. Even though he's very divisive, I think Shang-Chi can hold his own. I'm saying Simu Liu is the one who's divisive online. The character Shang-Chi, I think, will be able to go. I think him and Kang are going to be like.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, those 6 Avengers.
No, that team's yeah. Like everyone's right. They're going to get washed. Yeah.
Not even getting washed. These
which
6
is why
Avengers,
they're going to have to do some. They're going to have to open another portal to bring some people in. Like
these 6 Avengers versus Jonathan Majors. As
Tom Holland's still around. Don't count him out. We might get Mahershala Ali's Blade. Might.
We'll see. We'll see. Actually no, they got a new director, right? I think they need to figure that film
They're
out.
looking for a director, I think is what it is. Yeah,
They need to
they've
figure that
postponed
film out.
everything. Yeah,
I,
we
I
did.
I'm okay with them taking that time out.
We did an episode called The Catch Up where I saw Bullet Train after you saw Bullet Train. I was watching Bullet Train on Netflix prior to us recording. I still think it's enjoyable. I like it. It's not great.
It's fine for what
good.
it is. Yeah.
And what I did say is that I think because they're working together now, which is funny, but like David Leitch, I think should have made The Gray Man, and the Russo brothers should have made Bullet Train. Because I think Bullet Train's more of an ensemble. And I think David Leitch would have been handled that action better in The Gray Man than the Russo brothers did with him and his John Wick and Atomic Blonde roots. Yeah, I've always wanted to do blonde, so that's why it wouldn't be any other color but blonde. That was the whole point.
He did.
Like I never wanted to do blue or
Yeah, don't do blue. No, don't do.
We talked about the movie Prey because I had dropped and people were talking about that. I thought it was good. We talked about Uncharted because that had dropped on Netflix. I thought it was not good. Yeah. Then we did an episode all cap. We talked about hats.
I like that stuff. That's fun.
See, that scared me a little bit. That I think is the least viewed one. Oh no, Movies, Film, Cinema Part 2 because it's almost 3 hours.
But I will say at that time, all cap would have been one of the least viewed. I think because it was dedicated to nothing but headwear.
This is what we're gonna take my advice like it could be about anything, and I've wanted to talk about like tattoos. I've wanted to get all 5 of us on to talk about the tattoos that we have. We can talk about fashion stuff or the GQ like essential part, like stuff that you can't live without. Like we always kind of talk about shoes on the air, but like stuff like that. We can still do lifestyle stuff. I'm just kind of like I might get back to in year 2. We might bring some of that lifestyle stuff back, maybe at the end of an episode or something. Like like this section, we'll talk about this for a little bit, not dedicate a whole episode.
We gotta get some segments popping because I mean, Gosling update is already a segment.
Goswatch.
Maybe like like some type of like what you wear.
Yeah, the essential of the week or
There you go. I'm with it. All right,
then, again,
Buffy segmented out, and I love it. It really makes things fun.
Then we did 3 straight episodes, 3 straight weeks of movies, films, cinema. Classic. We did.
Those are fun.
2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and oddly enough, 2020, 2021.
We almost went 3 hours with that shit. That's crazy.
No, it was it's about I think 7.5 total
of your journey through
film, through the movie theater experience, because that's what it was. I was getting tired of the theater system is dying and want to shame. I'm like, actually, we kind of need it. I'd rather watch a movie at home now because I have to again, like if Wakanda Forever was at home the second week, I would have seen it a second time instead of me having to figure out what time on this day, the weather. Oh, I'm going to be recording that day. That movie's 2.5 hours too, so I got to factor in what I'm going to do after. Like the whole movie theaters don't work around you. You work around the movie theaters, and I was,
you got to figure out when you could show up.
But I was also, showing like I am a product of the movie theater system dying because I think I saw all but one MCU film in the theaters, and that was Thor: The Dark World, which was the smart decision. But I also saw stuff like Sicario, which you think is overrated. I saw stuff like Blade Runner 2049, which you think is overrated. So you're just shitting on Denis Villeneuve for no goddamn reason.
It's just be boring. It's like, I get it.
You don't appreciate Roger Deakins' cinematography.
A gigantic hologram Ana de Armas is fucking amazing, but you can't make a 3-hour movie about that shit. I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, that was I saw Uncut Gems on New Year's Eve. We talked about Uncut Gems longer than I want to because I don't think that's a great film. I think it's a good film. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is vastly superior to it in terms of like the movies that came out in 2019.
I like that film. I can't. I'll probably
that's me with Uncut Gems. Like I like it, but I don't think it's great. Like y'all are saying, like not even to get to the Julia Fox aspect of it, but like
by the time Julia Fox and Howie are walking down the street after she was
with the weekend, like
it's already like this shit is fucking crazy. What's going on?
I never fall for that heart beating, like, oh, it's so great. What did I just watch now? Like that was more what am I trying to think that I watched that was more
That
intense
movie is
and like
drugs.
no, it's not. I think no. I'm like
Uncut Gems isn't drugs.
either I can't get high, either I'm immune.
Either I'm straight edge or that movie sucks.
Yeah,
That's funny. No, that's funny.
It does have my favorite line that someone could say in a movie in 2019, which is, "We came here to see the fucking Weekend." Like, imagine saying that in a movie and it being the actual Weekend,
and it's the actual
perform in the
Weekend.
morning.
Damn,
amazing scene,
the
amazing song, the black light,
the whole the again
his orange, like you said, his orange hoodie, Julia Fox in her white shirt,
the Safdie brothers being able to
glasses, and the lustful look that you can even see through the lenses.
Did you see they're selling a green screen hat?
No, so you could just put anything like if I had a green screen background as well, you could make my hat anything.
I think it's Alara Pictures. I don't know how much the hat costs, but yeah, they had a video on their Instagram. It's a green hat, and it's some black dude walking down the street, and they start they like key coding in like because you can just basically put a whole video there. So like, if I had a green screen hat right now, right, and we had the ability to tap in and turn my head into a third video, it could be the Gamrujima Island Deathmatch just going on right here. Like I'm talking about fucking
I would just want it to be
Black Adam
reaction.
and it's Masa Saito like
I just
like,
want
you know what I'm saying?
The reactions we made on the pod, like Mimi and Matt's face when the 15 inches. I would want that on like the hat.
It'd be a rotating video and just
like on the front it's Matt's
reaction.
face, and on the other side it's Mimi's face. So like I can flip
You could do it though. Once you
would that be like what, a 6-panel hat? Like
what I'm saying is if my background was a green screen, I think you can trigger in it could be Goku. This could just be Goku, or this could be, I could be in a wrestling ring right now. It's like the shitty backgrounds that they do on Zoom, but it looks better because
some of those have looked really well, and some of them, like when Fam had the TV truck, WWE, right. That was really good.
Am I able to put something in the virtual?
You can. I thought I've tried it, but it never allows it to load for me.
What the hell back here?
This is stuff randomly. I wonder who put that in there. See, Steamboat,
there's a lot of random stuff in it. I don't know where any of this stuff came from.
Right after we did Movies, Film, Cinema, we did Mellow Don't Miss. And then all right. So what I didn't talk about now, this is what will get funny in terms of like this show bleeding into the day job. So we do TNT's Neighborhood Legend. Shout out to Seahawk. Happy belated birthday. He does his great article about Ricky Starks on the Ringer for his debut.
He did.
I do this episode of you with Carmelo Hayes late at night. I think that's the one who's just like fight and sleep. Like
I'd be out of it.
Because that was when we record like a 9 at night or something like that, my time. So
yeah, those are the nights when like, yeah, I'm free at 9:30 on a Saturday, and then I'm like,
I do this Carmelo Hayes episode being like, this guy's next up. The most obvious thing this year is that this guy's next up, which is why it pissed off Mr. 52, because this guy's hot, dude's cold, whatever. Seahawk writes an article, and I'm like, Cal, what's going on? I'm like, are you talking about me? And are they listening? Are you the one listening and feeding it to?
This is serendipity. When I tell you
synergy, great mind single. And
it's literally
Hayes.
It's one of those things where when everybody's having the same conversation, you're starting to make sense. Because when I first started talking to Seahawk, the first conversation months ago was, we're going to do this. I want to do this, and it was just trying to get that stuff to happen. The fact that we were able to book something outside of that, and make it. That's just it is what it is. But
it was just hilarious to me because like the episode dropped, I think it's within that week almost. The article, I'm like,
it's literally just you're talking about something that he's talking about, and then I just happen to be around there when things are happening. I can't front. It's just how the world works.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think. That's a conversation I could have had early in the year, but I've been trying to buy time and see how things play out. I think the reason why you like that MJF one, besides it's a great convo, and we finally talked about what works and what really doesn't. Is now that looks better with what's been going on with his reign.
Right.
Because we talked about the whole thing, like once this guy finally gets to have his run, is it going to be as, lesser than as the stuff he was doing before? Because everyone was saying, give this guy a title and watch him do something.
Watch him take off, yeah.
Then we did the Orange Cassidy project, and I said, Orange Cassidy doesn't need to be serious. He doesn't need to. He could be who he is and what he's been doing. He was being a little bit more serious, and over the course of his AEW tenure, like when he showed up in 2019, he was just kind of the guy from the Indies, like the same shtick that he kind of got a little bit more serious, talked a little bit more, saying it's escalated to the point where we are now. And I said that he could have, if he was a little bit younger, he could have been AEW's John Cena, just because his appeal to kids, men, women, children, everyone. He's just, I think, got universal appeal just in terms of, like, he's a natural baby face in that way. Fair. And he finally won the All Atlantic title right after. And we talked about, like, can this guy be taken seriously enough to be a champion? And he's making that title the work rate title on Rampage every week.
And then it just fucking happened.
And the great series of matches that he had with Pac. Again, we talked about off the top rope, like Finn Balor, which was
that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, the Prince run that Finn Balor had when he went back to NXT. One of my favorite eras of wrestling was when he was down there those 2 years, putting in work on the mic, in the ring, just a killer. And that's one of my favorite videos that I've made for Twitter. And yesterday I was sharing a bunch of my favorite videos. I'll be doing that again just because there's so many I've made in this past year that
drip and working
need to be reminded. Yeah, like
drip and working, and it's been a lot of dope shit. Salute to the video content that's been coming out for real.
Niners Nation with Black John Stud. We talked about that a little bit later. Just again, I'm a 49ers fan and wanted to talk about my team. We might do that again depending on how the season ends. Right now things are looking great.
If we do that again, I promise not to be super ready before we start.
The whiskey was good, I think is what you said.
I forget what we were drinking, but yeah, because me and my wife
whiskey, yeah.
No, but it was a particular whatever it was very strong. And
yeah, I could tell.
And
I said 10 minutes in, I'm like, something's wrong. I'm like, something's wrong with Cal.
My wife and I we may have recorded 2 episodes. Yeah, we record and I think I kept drinking and I was like, yeah. We can do white noise, and we did white shit. The episode it went out.
Yeah, the episode went out. And Black John Stud's power went out. That's the thing. That's how.
I thought he was mad at me. I forgot that his power went out.
I did. I'm like, set them up. I'm like,
I thought he was.
He's like Carl Anderson came because he's like Carl Anderson came on my screen. The TV shut off, and I don't know if that was that might have been the night they made their return. The OC.
That makes sense.
Which sets up a later episode. We did the first Q&A / live episode. This is the second. Had a good turnout for that. That was awesome. People asked some good questions like favorite title designs.
This was a good one as well. I mean, I will say we got some dope questions.
What did Hearts ask me?
She asked you a question outside of this?
No, on that episode. I think that's when we might have had. I think she came to bring us to task for our Jeff Jarrett slander or something like that. You and I being not, Jeff Jarrett fans. We did Casualties of the Wednesday Night War. We talked about those that have been misused.
That's a good
crossing
episode.
Over from.
Someone mentioned that in the chat too. That's a really good episode.
Shout out to Vin did the image for that with the tone because I wanted Triple H doing the point to Tony Khan with his Booker of the Year. We came with that like mid through the episode, and Vin came through in the clutch for that. Shane O'Mac Mania, your worst episode. You could erase it from existence, or
I just
realize
it's just Shane McMahon. The episode's fine. I'm just not a fan of him. But
MJF don't believe his lies, which again the Patreon part of that is Ryan Gosling and Jodeci.
That's a good episode.
So we started off like on fire. I think that's why we cooked so well, because you went to the show the night before. Even though you didn't go to the scrum like a coward, you let me down. You let us down.
If I went to that scrum,
Tony.
I'd have been sleep in the back of that scrum if I was at that scrum. I had to go.
We did. It's not a gang, it's a club, which is something my dad used to say about the Bullet Club. Again, I think people have found that very insightful and informative, and entertaining, as and likes to say, informative or insight and entertainment, informative.
Facts.
That's where again I was trying to teach Bullet Club from all these videos I had watched or following them in 2017, 2018, and still an eye on them now. And then the last 2 weeks, which has been the CM Punk 2 parts: his excellent adventure and his bogus journey. Which when you came up with that, I was like, brilliant.
It just made
that's
sense.
why you're an editor, Cal. Like that's why.
Just made sense.
And yeah, you know, the ultimate rise and fall of
all in like 360
literally
75 days or whatever.
23 matches, 360, 370 days, something like that. Just that's like
nuts.
And yeah, I mean, we might do another CM Punk episode just in terms of the WWE career because we kind of skipped over that.
That'd be smart. That would be smart.
And that's the thing, previewing year 2 is what we'll be doing. Again, maybe the Sasha Banks episode out of date. You would come up with a good idea for February.
Okay. That's what's up.
To talk about my favorite black wrestlers, because at some point
that's right.
In that Carmelo Hazelman, I compared him to Shelton Benjamin a little bit. Like that's his worst case is if he just ends up like Shelton Benjamin. I'm like, that would be disappointing to me just because like I wanted so much more for Shelton Benjamin and that it just didn't come to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, and then I was like, yeah, I should talk about it. I think with the other idea that we're workshopping, I'd have to steer away from one person one person in particular. But yeah, I'm trying. And maybe we'll do more movie stuff, more TV stuff.
We should do some more. Well, I think
it's just trying to find the balance with BVD and this. I'm not trying to.
I'm gonna say this.
Sell stepped on product on either show. Like I already talked about this here. I'm gonna go over here and talk about it again. But
well, I'm gonna say this. We should probably. I would say expect. I gotta hit somebody up in the text. Expect a Creed 3 episode.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think you and I we'll watch the pilot of the Idol, the show at the weekend.
Oh yeah,
and we'll probably have also like a weekend music conversation as well.
The Sam Levinson,
yeah,
that'll be a weekend episode surrounding I forgot that was coming out.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out this year and they pushed it. I think they realized they wanted a bigger slate for
2023,
and along with like The Last of Us, and they're trying to I think stack shows and shows and shows.
Last of Us, Idol TV series. When does this drop? It just says 2023.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, I would definitely expect that. You mentioned the 2-part. You mentioned Sasha Banks.
Yeah, Sasha Banks, and I'll try to think. I mean, I'd say she's my favorite women's wrestler. I'd say Io Shirai is probably my second.
Sasha's
maybe one about her.
Sasha's up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like wrestlers I haven't talked on before. Again, I try to do stuff that's also within the week. That's why I want to talk about a little bit about Sasha Banks right now. But there's stuff I can kind of come up with. And
did you want to do, because you're the self-described AEW guy at BRP, would you want to do more for? I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but like they have 4 pay-per-views a year. Would you want?
I thought about doing the old ones.
Like recapping some of that stuff,
yeah,
or maybe watching a match or something, like watching matches.
Recapping, like see how much it's changed, or like what was the highlight, or like.
Well, I'll say chat,
like
because this is the stuff I kind of want to get. We should be getting out of here soon. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put on some wrap it up music because
you need to wrap it up, B.
Fucking wrap this up, but I mean, we still at BRP still has to schedule the Reina watch along, but I think it would be cool to do. Some like homework type episodes where it's like, all right, as a matter of fact, actually, can we do a homework episode on All In? And I only say this because
that's the episode I wanted to do, was to kind of kickstart this, is like the potential of All In and what this company should have been, but also is it actually, like, is it still doing that? Even though I don't think they lived up to it. So that's
it'd be like 4 year, 5 year. It'd be fun.
Yeah, no, that's why I think I talked about like next year at some point will be 5 years since All In. So we would do All In.
We're giving away all the gems, but I would expect
why would you fucking show me if I can't have it?
Like an All In recap episode around that 5 year mark, but only because it's the end of the year. You've been sharing a lot of the phenomenal work you've been doing. You shared the Penta video with the hands in the air.
There's an episode that we were supposed to do months ago, but fortunately her schedule didn't work with Keith,
right,
about flippy wrestling, high flying wrestling, and so that's in the chamber. Penta might be in that conversation.
I do not remember the Penta Omega. They had a singles match.
They had a great match from what I can remember. Yeah, but I haven't run it back. But
I want to.
It was good.
Can't maybe we can run.
That's a match. So we would recap the whole show here. Go to BRPC and watch just that match.
Yeah.
So we recap shows here and pick a match to watch along. Yeah. Kind of like
Yeah. I think that.
I think like Bola's coming up. I was trying to talk about PWG a few weeks ago, but I did that Shane McMahon one instead. So maybe a PWG episode will be coming up.
I need to watch more. Marvel Lucha Libres. That's a show, right?
I think so.
Marvel Lucha Libre show announced for Disney Plus. Because I know like real wrestlers are in that. During the third and final night of Triple Mania, Triple X in Mexico City, AAA Worldwide announced a new wrestling show set to debut on Disney Plus. It'll be seemingly titled El Origen de la Mascara, or The Origin of the Mask. Who's inspired by Marvel heroes. So what does that mean? I know there were luchadores who were dressing up as Marvel characters. I don't know. We'll fucking see. We should probably look into that as well. Ken Liu said real quick before y'all dip. God damn it. Got this last question. Tried to ask for on the last live. How do you keep yourself from not laughing hard on BRP Drip? That's a good question.
I think I'd try, because I don't think I could be an actor.
It's the no sell.
So I try my best to no sell a lot of the time, but like
you have to no
there's
sell.
I'll like Banks and I did Blackberry at Shout to X and Van earlier this year. And X called Falcon and Winter Soldier a different title.
Okay.
One I can't repeat.
Good job.
But to me, I had no choice to laugh because it was like so bad, but I'm just like,
some things be funny sometimes, man. Things be funny.
And it's something like, so do you think it's that word is funny? And I'm just like,
that's where Drip's good.
That's why I try not to know those, because like, so what's like when math would get on my eyes, like, what's funny about that?
Right.
Like, why are you laughing?
Because those questions come up, and Drip's really good at being like, you know what? I'm gonna know some of this whole conversation. Drip be like, you know what? I'm watching the game.
But I also will just be a prick and just no sell shit in general too. Like, I'll no sell compliments, and not just to be like humble. Like, I think it's 10 years ago now. They did this Tom Brady documentary talking about called The Brady Six, and they talked about the 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of him. And at the end, he's like, and this is in 2011. He's still playing now. He's won more Super Bowls after this than before this. Mm-hmm. He's like, I still don't think I'm very good. I don't think I got the best arm.
Damn.
It was just, but again, is that thing like, oh, is he being humble, or does he believe that way, or is that? And I told this to Ethan Banks once about that motivation of like, if I hear all the praise, then that's all I want to hear. Then, or like, then the negativity can't get to me, or if I just let the negativity get to me and not the praise, it's that thing where like, so if I don't pay attention to any of it, I'm pushing myself to keep going, not what people are saying, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean?
Right now, no, 100%.
No,
I know exactly what you mean.
And I've had people, you, me, Matt, Fam, Keeks, Eve, Bank, whoever say, "Oh, you are good." At times I do, like when I've listened, because I hate listening to episodes. I do, and that's why I hate when I cut the clip, especially for Banks versus Davis, because I'll be like, hear the predominant talker,
right?
Lead mic, and I'll be like, oh god, like,
see, when I gotta track out this week's episode on the YouTube. And it's the only time I watch through the whole episode, and
I hate when you do that, because when I'm trying to find something, it takes me to the next timestamp. It's like when I'm trying to find something in the middle.
Oh, I don't know.
Like
what to tell you.
It's just the thing. Like
that's
the way
how the app
YouTube
works. Yeah,
it's just like, I'm like, god damn it, Cal, was so much easier. I'd rather try to guess and remember, like, was the conversation around here? Or,
well, maybe I'll wait a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll wait a couple of weeks.
No, it's just that when you did it again for last week's episode, I'm like,
I did it recently.
Yeah.
There was there was so much going on in that episode. There was actually a lot of different timestamps. But if you notice,
I wanted to find the cry line bit about Matt, and I cut that whole. I think I cut right after that when I make fun of him like you about him crying about the shirt.
The thing is, though, it's like every timestamp, it's always with me like,
this might be a good one.
Well,
that's why I'm like, so I think because those are your segues, like
every time.
That's why the best moment in our entire history. It's in best of BRP 2021 Volume 3 is Jobber Talk panel this weekend. You want to see this asshole? Come to New York. And then Matt, bam, and we had no choice. And then Matt's like, is that what this is about, Cal? And he's like, and we die. I say that's your version of Busted Open Radio, fam.
But y'all had called me. Somebody had called me an asshole. That's the thing.
You were no. You put the title.
I was a champ. I was a champ.
And then Matt's like, look at this piece of shit.
Matter of fact,
asshole. And then
because the pay-per-view was going to be happening. Yeah.
So that episode, after we go to the, you go So Keith Lee's medical bills, they weren't paying them. That's just like, I leave that in for like, this is our show. Like. No, this is our show.
That's the best part about BRP. It's not that
like we spent 20 seconds like, oh god.
It's not the fact that
they weren't paying Keith Lee's medical bills.
It's
it's like
the thing is BRP is
again, like 15 inches and heavy breathing was the first 20 minutes of the show this week.
BRP, at the end of the day, BRP is a pro wrestling podcast. I want to make sure people know that it is a pro wrestling podcast. Now, that means that no matter where the show goes, if Math is singing and telling stories, if Fam is going off on some like Stone Cold Steve Austin voice, Mimi berating whoever, or just shouting out, dancing and making us sing like Salt and Pepper or whatever, like at a certain point, we have to talk about pro wrestling.
Got fired up and just like
this man went out.
Like, no, go ahead.
I was gonna, because I don't know if you were talking about, because you threw a belt in the snow.
Oh, that's different. No. I mean, like when I've gone on my, I think it was the first time
You've got a couple of rants.
No, I think it was the first time I tore Cody Rhodes apart for like, you look ridiculous with this promo and I think Cal Dansby, I think Cal Dansby told you or him like he was spitting on that.
Yeah, he was spitting. Yeah.
And then I was a few when a man had a comeback about the BRP 50 once he had made his, and I, lit his ass up apparently. And then again, that's when you call me fentanyl because I was dressed up. Again, I was a champ. I was looking good. I had cocaine chic on, like
big facts.
And I said, I'll post that clip later. I said, just because the man from Pioneer City was better than you, and then Bam said, I'm sorry, say that again. And I said Pioneer City, and then Bam goes, God dang right. The Cody Rhodes retired, which that's probably my best soundbite, just because.
Just retired, bitch was a good one.
If you go through a flaming again, like I had it at that point. Oh yeah, tore Seth Rollins apart when he said he was the dripping all that, and yes. I'm like, you said you don't want your kids listening to rap, so like, you ain't Tyler Black, you Tyler White, like. That was the line, remember? Like,
no, yeah, Drip was spitting. I don't give a fuck what nobody said.
I don't know why I turned into give me the fucking mic.
I love it. Anytime somebody's got a song on their heart, I want them to sing it. But it's always best when Drip is like, let me get at it. But anyway.
So again, this is the wrap up for year one. We won't be back until the start of the new year.
Wait, I'm sorry. I had one question because Big Mike.
You have a question for me?
Yeah, no. Big Mike posted on Twitter.
Okay.
It was.
You want to make that the cover?
Well, maybe, but I was gonna say, because yesterday we try and figure out when we're recording on the weekends, and I said I got family business going on. You have apparently you have it. Big Mike
3 different type of Christmases going on. That was.
Oh, you were moving.
Well, no, just. It's split out over. One's the week before Christmas. Christmas Eve is my dad, stepmom, stepbrothers, and grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And then Christmas is at my stepmom's mom, my other grandma. So like it's her parents, since her parents are split. One's the week before, and then one's actually Christmas and all. And then so it's 3 Christmas type days in seven days. So.
Right.
But this one was only like 40 minutes away. But yeah, it was that's a Christmas where we go further out for when family members we haven't seen all year, and
And your pops say, "Yo, let me put on the Wu-Tang t-shirt."
So I'm like, I know I think he really only is a fan of 36 Chambers, like the original Wu-Tang album.
Hey, I understand.
But yeah, like it was just, and that's I think the kind you get from Target or whatever, because that soft style like band t-shirt. He had said like we take a pic. It's like I should take a picture of it. I think my stepmom took that picture because I didn't take a picture of him. I was waiting for, and Matt just told us today when to expect our shipments because there'll be a picture of him and I in our
in the Black Wrestling, the Black Wrestling Manias, that was dope. It was dope.
I'll finally have one. Finally,
I just. Mine's over in the bag somewhere. I just washed it. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had a new Black Wrestling Mania hoodie because the last time they got reprinted, I said, "No, I'm good." And now in that time, anyway, I just going on the timeline and seeing Big Mike in the Wu-Tang.
You'll have to come on here. You're supposed to come on here a few weeks ago too, and then I think we changed because so I want to try to get Banks, Keeks, my dad, obviously, Vin,
for sure.
With some other people, I would try to, because I always try to be mindful of people's schedules as a thing. It's like I hope to get Cody Dre, Chris Ann, Eve, Public Enemies, the homies there, other people. I don't know if there's like a big get that. I mean, maybe SGG and I would have to have a conversation. It's I don't know, not anything but Bret Hart.
I think a SGG drip converse like an extended conversation, because I mean, again, it's been 3 years. You've been around us going on, and there's been a couple of conversations between y'all, but a real sit down. I don't know what it'll be on. Maybe that's a Roman conversation.
The Bullet Club one, right after. I'm like, I think. Shout out to Trey D. I think he would have been a good person, and we can kind of do a variation of that episode later on too, depending on what happens. But I'm like, there are people I've had in mind, just me having, because I try to ask them myself. I'm not good with the moving and shaking in terms of playing the game. I'm just a quiet guy, sits in the corner and tries not to laugh.
That's the thing is when they respond, that's how you know they respect your G. So
that's how I got on that, and that's one of the few times I've reached out to someone and it worked.
Piece of the gun. All right, man. We got to get out of here.
Thank you all for joining us this year. Run back the episodes. Like I said, they're all on a playlist on the Black Wrestling YouTube. But sign up to the Patreon because that's where you get the first access for a week and the bonus content that we'll do along with it. Like the CM Punk one, I guess, is technically paired with those 2 episodes. The Grass is Greener, where you water it, where we review the scrum. And those empty-headed fucks.
Empty-headed fucks. It's funny.
But Cal, where can people find you on social media?
At Cal on Twitter, at Black Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagrams, I guess, until they shut one of them down. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling. If you're watching this live, that's how you're seeing it. Patreon.com/Black Wrestling. Shout out to Ken Liu in the chat and a bunch of other people who continuously pay the 1 or pay the 10 to get exclusive content like this, like Drip was saying, or other things that you ain't never seen before or can't see on YouTube because we don't want to break their guidelines. Black Watch.
Bam and Tony Brown. Bulls in the China Shop. Definitely can't be. Everything. We have something else every Wednesday. They'll be back in the new year.
Yeah, their episode is locked and loaded. It's just, and I think just like White Noise and shit, a bunch of things that I'm working on.
Yeah, I think Mimi has something work.
Mimi's working as well.
Keep an eye for that.
We're trying to ease into 2023. It's been a hectic couple of years, so there will. I will say we gotta get the fuck out of it. There will be content that I'm prepping in between, like now in the new year, for the Patreon. So any patrons, don't worry. I'll
get back to those best of special guest stars.
There's gonna be, and that's the thing. There's gonna be a lot of content still dropping. Is you just made it like the Buffy. This coming week is pre-record, so we ain't gonna be live, but you getting a full episode. It's actually a really dope episode if you like sports. But we gonna get out of here. Salutes to everybody who was watching throughout the whole damn near 2 hours of this live. Drip, thank you for
Thank you. Again, I said it a few weeks ago. We said it in the chat where I'm like, you said it must be my production is why we got that compliment, and I'm like, almost definitely. And I'm serious in a way. Like, this show doesn't run without you. I say this about things like the engine. Like, I can't drive the car if there's no engine. It's just a car. It'll just sit there. And who wants to hear the rantings of a madman who will just go on and on and on? Like,
I
you can follow me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip, Instagram Davis Colon DC, Banks versus Davis live every Sunday on YouTube. You can catch us later in the day, talk about some of the stuff I didn't talk over today, like that Henry Cavill stuff, more other stuff. Banks versus Davis Patreon. We'll be doing a Black Adam watch along soon. It's me just shitting on that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I won't watch it until we do the commentary. That'll be I did that. Wow. We did that with Morbius. I didn't watch it before, so I was watching it as we're commenting on it. I'm like, God, this is just awful. Like,
that's great. I love it. I do love that.
But yeah. Like I said, I'll be on All Hollywood Geeks tomorrow. Shout out to Public Enemies. They got a Patreon.
They do. I saw that.
Sign up for that. But yeah, on YouTube, 8 o'clock my time. So I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern.
I believe it's 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, All Hollywood Geeks.
She'll be giving out her awards. Banks and I will be part of that. Shout out to Graham. I think he'll be part
That's
of it
right.
too.
That's the year end, huh? Yeah.
Shout out to Black Announce Table. Wrestling Realm. We love wrestling. All the pods.
Facts. All the family.
Out there too.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Remember we too sweet at the end of